The first clue something was wrong wasn't a lawsuit, or a sheriff, or even a phone call. It was a sign. A bright, laminated sign that hadn't been there the night before, zip-tied to the wooden post by my mailbox like it owned the place. And let me tell you something, when you've spent 20 years building a life where nobody tells you what to do, seeing the letters HOA Management on your land feels about the same as finding a rattlesnake in your boot. Yeah, that happened. It was a Wednesday morning in early spring, the kind of Arizona morning that starts cold enough to make you keep your jacket on, but promises to warm up before lunch. I was standing at the edge of my driveway with a mug of black coffee, enjoying one of those rare quiet moments. No tractors from the ranchers yet, no coyotes yipping, even the birds seemed undecided about who was going to sing first. Then I saw that sign. Private access under HOA management. No unauthorized entry. I blinked twice. My coffee didn't. Now for the record, my place isn't in an HOA. Never has been. Never will be if I have anything to say about it. That was the whole point when I bought those 7 dusty acres outside Tucson. I'd checked the county records twice before signing. No covenants, no committees, no neighborhood Karens telling me what color my garage door should be. Just land. Old land, too. 50 years ago, the place had been a grain distribution depot. When I bought it, the buildings were half collapsed, and the fences looked like they'd lost a bar fight with time. But I rebuilt it piece by piece, turned the main structure into a garage and workshop, filled it with the kind of machines modern Arizona seems to have forgotten. 60s muscle cars, big Detroit iron, chrome that shines like a desert sunrise when you polish it right. My sanctuary. So when I saw that HOA sign sitting on my post like it belonged there, something in the back of my neck started itching. I followed the gravel drive past the workshop toward the ridge. Halfway up, I spotted them. 2 guys in matching blue polos with little embroidered HOA logos, both carrying clipboards like they were auditing the place. One was snapping photos of my yard, specifically the engine hoist and the stripped Camaro chassis I'd been working on all weekend. The other guy was walking around my old storage shed like he was inspecting termite damage on a rental property. I walked straight up to them. "Morning," I said, louder than necessary. "Either of you boys want to explain why you're trespassing on private land?" The guy with the camera jumped like he'd been caught stealing cookies. Clipboard guy didn't. He stepped forward with that tight politician smile. "Good morning, sir. We're with Hickory Hill Estates HOA. We're conducting a beautification compliance assessment under the new zone integration protocol." That sentence had more bureaucratic manure in it than a cattle auction. I stared at him a moment. "Let me stop you right there," I said. "This land isn't in your HOA. I didn't sign anything. So unless you're hoping to test Arizona trespassing laws, I suggest you get off my dirt." The second guy shifted nervously. "Sir, we were told this parcel was included in the updated boundary alignment. Consent from the parcel owner was filed and documented." My stomach dropped. "Owner?" I asked. He checked the clipboard. "Mr. Derek Wilson." And just like that, the world tilted. Derek Wilson had been my friend since college. My best man at my wedding. The guy I drank beer with every other Saturday. And apparently the man who had just handed my land to the HOA. I pulled out my phone and started recording. "You boys are going to turn around," I said calmly, "and walk back the way you came. Because you're trespassing, and now you're on camera." The smug smiles disappeared fast. They tried mumbling about procedures and confusion, but I walked them right off the property line like stray dogs until they stepped back toward the subdivision they'd slithered in from. That's when I noticed the survey stakes. Bright orange. 5 of them. Hammered into the southern edge of my property like someone already owned it. I didn't sleep much that night. My mind kept circling the same question. Why hadn't Derek told me? I called him the next morning. Straight to voicemail. Twice. So that afternoon I climbed into my old F-250, faded red paint, dented bumper from an elk near Flagstaff, and drove straight into Hickory Hill Estates. Getting past the gate was easier than I expected. The guard recognized me from when I helped Derek move his smoker last fall. "Mr. Morris," he said. "Here to see Wilson?" "Yep. Is he expecting you?" "Not exactly." The gate slid open with that smug electric hum gated communities used to pretend the world outside is dangerous. Derek's house looked like every other house in there, beige, perfect lawn, porch swing nobody actually uses. I rang the doorbell hard enough to echo down the street. He opened the door chewing chips. For half a second he smiled. "Clint, what the hell did you sign?" His face froze. He stepped outside and pulled the door shut behind him. Look, man, can we not do this here? Oh, we're doing it here, I said. You filed paperwork saying I gave the HOA access to my land. He rubbed his neck. It's not like that. I showed him the photo of the document. My name. My signature. Except it wasn't mine. You want to explain that? He stared at the screen inside. It's just road access, Clint. They're offering $3,000 a month. You forged my signature. I copied it from a PDF you sent me once. I stepped closer. You took my signature from an insurance document and used it to sign a legal easement without telling me. He shrugged weakly. I thought you'd come around. That's when the fury hit, the kind that makes your hands cold. You just committed a felony, I said. He glanced toward the neighbors' windows. They were going to build the road anyway. I just helped smooth things out. I stared at him. You didn't smooth anything, I said quietly. You sold my land. I drove straight home and called my lawyer, Jacob Ellis. Within hours we'd filed a cease and desist and requested the county records. That night I laid every document I owned across my garage bench like battle plans. The southern boundary had always been just dust and cactus. Now it was a war line. And the next morning the war started. I woke before sunrise to the sound of diesel engines. Heavy machinery. I stormed outside in boots and jeans. For work trucks. A grader. A dump truck full of gravel. They were already painting lines on my land, preparing to pave a road. I marched straight up to the foreman. Who told you to dig here? He squinted. You Clint Morris? You know damn well I am. He showed me the work order. The forged easement. County stamped. That's when I made a decision. I walked back to the house, opened my gun safe, and picked up my 12-gauge. Unloaded. But visible. When I walked back toward the machines, the entire crew froze. Everybody off my land, I said calmly. This is your one warning. 5 minutes later a sheriff arrived. He looked at the documents. Looked at my deed. Then he turned to the crew. Until a judge sorts this out, he said, no one touches this property. The machines backed off. But the damage was done. They'd torn up my drainage berm and ripped apart part of my road. And someone had clipped my security camera. That's when the twist came from a neighbor. Ronnie. He showed up the next morning throwing pebbles at my window holding a flash drive. Drone footage. Clear video of the HOA crew trespassing and marking road lines beyond the stakes. Evidence. Jacob filed the lawsuit that same day. Forgery. Trespass. Fraud. But the real bombshell came later. A whistleblower named Carl handed us internal HOA emails. They'd planned the whole thing weeks earlier. Used Derek to pressure me. Forge paperwork if necessary. Push zoning through a friendly county clerk. When the case hit court it exploded. Derek eventually took the stand. And under oath he admitted everything. The forged signature. The $20,000 payoff. The development plan. The courtroom went silent. 48 hours later the judge delivered the verdict. Fraud. Forgery. Abuse of process. The HOA had to pay me $450,000 in damages. Derek got arrested in the courtroom. 3.5 years. I watched him walk out in cuffs. Didn't say a word. A week later I blocked the southern road permanently with 3 concrete barriers. Painted in big red letters. Private property. No access. The developer pulled out of the project. Several homes near the boundary lost value. And the HOA board quietly replaced half its members. These days the garage is bigger. 2 new apprentices. Fresh epoxy floors. And every evening I sit on the deck with my dog Luna, looking out over land that's still mine. No HOA. No road. No betrayal. Just desert wind and the sound of engines being rebuilt the right way. But here's the thing I still wonder about sometimes. If Derek had just asked, over a beer like the old days, would things have gone differently? Or was that friendship already for sale long before the contract showed up? Let me know what you think. Because honestly, situations like this raise a bigger question. When it comes to property, loyalty, and power, where exactly is the line between community progress and outright theft? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you've ever had a run-in with an HOA, I'd really like to hear your story too.